Hey, everybody, how you doing? Yep, welcome to PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games. That right there, it's the man behind Flyperbole. That's right, it's Steve Jaco. Well, they scored.
They did score. They had that going for them.
The Flyers come out. They score early, first few minutes of the game. It's Rodrigo Abols. How do you like them, Abols?
And Bush very
stuff.
much used that reference, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it from the Bush man.
And they got a couple of goals tonight, did the Flyers, but it was not enough, nor was an outstanding effort by Sam Ersson. Offense just kind of disappeared after the first period of this one. I don't really know what else to say about this game, Steve. Flyers lose 3-2 in overtime on a Dylan Guenther buzzer beater. It looked like we were going to the shootout.
Yeah, the Flyers thought that too.
Yeah, he's able to end the game. And honestly, that's where I want to start tonight, is with this team. And it's what I want to ask Charlie. There are obviously offensive deficiencies with this team. We've talked, it looked like TK broke his goal drought tonight. That gets brought back on a replay.
You were so close to, you did your shotgun approach for your bet tonight, and you came so close.
I honestly thought watching it live, the Forster goal, I thought that the goalie kind of got caught in between, like not sure who to really defend, and maybe Coots beat him. And now it was a backdoor play that Forster finished off. All right, close but no cigar on that one. And then TK scores, and no, not quite.
And that's a shame on the TK goal, because that was a beaut, but it was pretty clearly offside. So what are you going to do?
We know about this team's offensive deficiencies right now. Big drought for Michkov, big drought for TK. They trade a couple of guys away. Owen Tippett's missing. Forster, Cates, Brink, you can't count on these guys every night. Like, they're nice players. They're good pieces. We're enjoying watching them develop, but they're not, top line guys. When your goals come from Tyson Forster, nice play, nice setup by Coots. Great shift by the Cates line to get that all going. Cates come off, Coots comes on, sets up the goal. Rodrigo Abols, I'm really trying to say it right.
It's a hard one, man. It's don't get too used to it either.
No, it seems so easy, but for some reason I find it difficult. Anyway.
It's a weird one.
It's cool that he scores his first. It's nice. Nic Delsuairas gets in there. He's in front of the net, providing a little net front presence in his first game back. He grabs that puck right away. That's all well and good. But when the few quote-unquote big guys that you have just cannot get on the board, all right, I understand. This team doesn't have a ton of offense. It's probably pretty easy to take away Travis Konechny when he's the only threat. The amount of times that the Utahs got behind the defense tonight, burned everyone, whether it was end-to-end rushes or turnovers at the line, that Liam O'Brien was there to jump on.
O'Brien was there.
I don't know if I've seen the Flyers give up that many chances that were just completely undefended as I did tonight.
Which is wild, because they just played a really good defensive game against a much better offensive team in Colorado. It's so strange how some nights this team is lockdown defense. And granted, they did have Ristolainen out of the lineup tonight. Yep. And that definitely hurts, because Ristolainen's been one of their better defenders this year. But nonetheless, this is not a team Clayton Keller's good. Dylan Guenther looked like Connor McDavid against them tonight.
Guenther, couple of goals. It was his first game back in a while. He scores the game winner. He gets another one. That was, two pretty sick shots.
There were 6 shots. Bill, I got to say, who are the 5 greatest Utah Utes of all time? Dylan. He shoots hot fire.
Someone had to do it.
Someone had to do it. It's been there. I had to get it. I had to scratch that itch.
I just, for a team that it preaches, hey, we got to play the right way. We got to check. We got to defend. We got to do all the little things right. That's not at all what I saw tonight, whether it's like, I guess the mental lapse there at the end from Scott Lawton, where Bush is pointing it out right on the broadcast. Like, if he just stays tied up, his man can't get off the ice, and they're offside. Guenther can't get into the zone before the clock expires, but he jumps off the ice. So now suddenly it's a clear path for Guenther, and he rips a shot. And listen, Ersson played great. He couldn't stop that one. You can't stop them all. The amount of chances they gave up tonight, like they were going to score 3. In no world was 2 enough. And I guess
42 shots allowed. They allowed 42 shots to a team that doesn't even have a name.
Yeah, Utah averages 27.5 a game, 21st in the league. They put up 42 tonight.
42!
And these were not like, I know we hear a lot, they just shoot from everywhere. They get pucks on net so they can pump their Corsi numbers or something, because I guess guys are really looking to pump those Corsi numbers because that's what gets you paid, obviously.
Big part of the contract dispute.
Yeah.
It's like, have you seen my Corsi?
These were not fire from anywhere, low percentage. Let's just get it through because they're playing such good defense shots.
Right.
No.
Right.
These were breakaways, 2-on-0s. Like, these were high danger chances in the slot, around the net, cross ice plays, and Ersson was there. But it's just disappointing. And maybe, like you said, with Ristolainen out, Zamula out, like guys who are regulars in the lineup, you're missing. You traded a couple of guys away. You're missing a few others with injury. Maybe they're cheating for offense. Maybe everyone isn't on the same page. We see a few lines mixed up. We see a few D pairs mixed up. Maybe it's as simple as that. But for a team that, one, came out strong and showed you what you wanted to see in the first 10, 15 minutes of this game, I was just disappointed with what I saw out of everyone outside of Sam Ersson tonight.
Well, and also for a team that is supposed to be known for its defensive system, for John Tortorella's system, this is a disappointing effort. Like, this is a winnable game. Like, granted, I think at this point, after the Farabee and Frost trade, like, the Flyers aren't really in win now mode anymore. But, like, this is still a team that wants to compete every night. This is still a team that wants to win this game. They didn't want to lose this game for damn sure. So it's a disappointing result to see them lose this game, because this is a winnable game. Even with the TK goal called back, like, they still have to rally from that. That really seemed to deflate them. Like, after that goal was called back, like, I didn't really see that many great opportunities in there. So, I just want to see more bounce back from this team, and I want to see more offensive creativity, but I'm sure we'll get into that as we go along the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just look at, they just weren't able to create much at all tonight. They had like 4 shots in the second period. It was just kind of more the same. They just happened to score a couple. Listen, it's been tough going to watch this team, but only a couple of games left before the 4 nations break. And I bet you when those 2 weeks are over, you're going to want to see them live. Do it with Game Time. That's right. Our Fly guys are coming home for a couple before the 4 nations break. They'll have a bunch of home games after the 2-week break. I bet you're going to want to go check them out. And the best way to do it is with the best secondary ticket marketplace on the whole interweb. It is Game Time. That's right. Game Time has a ton of features that make getting tickets to your favorite events fast and easy, starting with Game Time Picks. They filter out the fluff to show you only the best deals on the absolute greatest seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the right spot for you. And when you go to checkout, there will be no surprises with the all-in pricing. And when you get to the venue, no surprises there either, because you've already seen a panoramic view from your seat with the seat viewer. And you also have the low price guarantee and the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. And while we're here, why not tell you about TrueMark Financial Credit Union? Did all that holiday shopping leave you with a credit card balance that's weighing you down? Maybe now you want to get down to New Orleans for the big game. Maybe you got big Valentine's Day plans. Whatever it is, Think about this. What if you could pay off that balance faster and with zero interest until 2026? Well, you can, because TrueMark Financial is offering zero interest on balance transfers for 12 months, so all your payments can go towards reducing your balance, not just covering interest. Here's what you got to do. Transfer your existing balance from another institution to a TrueMark Financial Visa credit card and take advantage of this amazing offer. But hurry, you only have to the end of this month to do it, February 28th. Not that far from now, like 23 days. Remember, it's a short month. You always got to remember that.
Always gets me, Bill.
Yeah, whether you're interested in earning rewards, cash back, or simply prefer a low rate for everyday purchases, with TrueMark Financial, you can choose the credit card that best fits your financial needs. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% balance transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate. All right, I do want to get to Sam Ersson because, listen, I have been skeptical of his season to this point. He's shown some flashes. There was a little period there where it looked like his game was coming around after a slow start. Then there's some injuries, and we just couldn't get him in there consistently enough to really evaluate him. But since he's come back from the third injury he suffered this year, he's been excellent for this team for the most part. And tonight, no different. Stops 39 out of 42. 38 was his career high that he beat with his 38th save tonight. Yes, he gives up the 3 goals, including the winner. 929 save percentage, though, and 64-59. 1 second away from getting to that shootout for the Flyers, but
what happened there, by the way? Because it looked like the entire team's controller came unplugged at the last second. And they were like, "This is done," and then Guenther's like,
And the exact same thing happened with 10 seconds left in the first period. They played a pretty strong first period, did the Flyers, but Utah started to push back and it became a little more even. And that's the note I have. The whole team went controller unplugged for the final 10 seconds. Ersson makes a huge stop on what became a 2-0 in the closing seconds of the first. Otherwise, they lose this thing in regulation if he doesn't make that stop there. Early third on the power. Utah's on the power play. He had a huge save. Ersson was excellent tonight.
He was fire tonight. I can think of at least 4 huge saves that he makes that change the game right there. A lot of side-to-side crease action, a lot of just shutting down guys on what should have been goals. It was really impressive. And he was great in the Colorado game too. So this is 2 really strong back-to-back performances for Sam Ersson.
He had that rough game where he gave up 4 goals on 16 shots a few nights ago. But it was you and I did that post game, and we're like, I don't know. I blame him for 1.5.
They were terrible that night.
Yeah, a 750 save percentage, no matter what sort of excuse you make, is bad. But for the most part, he's been really, really good for this team since he came back from his New Year's Eve injury. And tonight, I did see a tweet. I meant to send it to Brendan, but I forget now. I forget who sent it. I never did. But it was there's some sort of sick cruelty in. The Flyers were buzzing, playing well, and Sam Ersson couldn't stop a beach ball. And now, he's playing great. And, team refuses to give him any sort of offense or even tonight, defensive effort.
And that's just the problem with this team. This is why this team's not a competitor, because they can't put it all together at once. They're just not ready for prime time in any way, shape, or form. And, the problem also tonight is it's an AHL, half an AHL lineup in there. You're looking you've got Rodrigo Abols, who we like, but he's Rodrigo Abols. We have Jacob Gaucher, who he played 6.5 minutes tonight. Nic Delsuairas, who is barely an NHL player, but at least he is an enforcer in the NHL. He didn't even get it to 6 minutes.
You know what? I want to let's do Abols first. How do you like them apples? That was a great call by Bush.
Great call by Bush.
But you got to be happy for a guy. His first career goal ends the Flyers shutout streak. Of course, they had been shut out in 3 straight games. Going back to last Monday's game against the Devils, that they did win and scored an empty netter at the end. But they hadn't scored against a goalie before Rodrigo's goal 219 minutes and 13 seconds. Nearly 220 minutes of game time since the last time somebody shot and scored against the goalie and it counted. And it is of course Rodrigo Abols with the goal. Nic Delsuairas was camped out in front. And honestly, when I saw that, my reaction was put Delsuairas net front on the power play. What's it going to get worse?
I am fine with that at this point because, like, there was a power play. Was it? Yeah, it was late in regulation. Flyers, that's a great chance to win the game right there. They had no inside presence at all. They were completely on the perimeter, which was insane to me. Like, I don't understand how the coaches look at this and go, this is fine. This is how you run a power play.
And they even like attempted to, okay, we're going to leave that unit out there. We're going to sub Forster in for Brink, but leave like Michkov and Konechny on the ice. And like they had the puck. They were set up. They still can't win a faceoff, but they're set up. There's just absolutely no pressure, no creativity, no movement, and ultimately nothing to show for it. But I do want to just congratulate Rodrigo Abols on his first career goal. And I want to talk about Nic Delsuairas because honestly, we give him a lot of grief on this show, and everyone knows how I feel about enforcers and fighting. It's my favorite part of the game. If I was commissioner, like Frank Bialos would be my deputy.
Gotta love the animal, Bill. Gotta love the animal.
I realize the game has changed, and if the Flyers want to win, like they have to be different than what I personally like about hockey. But I was really happy for Nic Delsuairas tonight. He gets in there. He helps create, the streak-ending goal by getting to the front of the net and creating a screen, a little bit of traffic for Vejmelka. And he has a scrap as well. That was one really freaking good fight.
That's about as successful a night as Nic Delsuairas has. When he gets when he has a primary role in getting a goal for the team, and then he's icing down his knuckles after beating down a big man, man, it doesn't get any better than that for D'Lo.
And speaking of it doesn't get any better, joining us now is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer. It is Charlie O'Connor coming to us live from Salt Lake City. Charlie, before we get into everything else, thoughts on the game and any standout comments from the locker room?
Yeah, well, I think this game, the storyline is obvious. It was Sam Ersson. Sam Ersson was, by far the best Flyer on the ice. One could make a case he was the only Flyer that played very well. I thought Rodrigo Abols had a strong game, even aside from the goal. Didn't get a ton of ice time, but I thought he did well with the ice time he got. But overall, this was the Sam Ersson show. He was the only reason why this game went into overtime. Easily could have been a 5-2, 6-2 loss. But Ersson was great. I guess you could quibble with a couple of the goals that he gave up, but the thing is, he stopped so many that should have been goals that you're almost just like, whatever. You know what? Like, Dylan Guenther is a really, really good player. He's one of those guys that I don't think most hockey fans realize is as good as he is. He's an up-and-comer. He's got a really good shot, which he showed twice today. So I'm not going to give Ersson too much grief on the goals he gave up. And he stopped so many point-blank chances. That 2-on-0 at the end of the first period, I don't know how he got over to make that save. Just a fantastic game by Ersson. It's a bummer for him more than anyone else because the Flyers skaters didn't deserve to win this game.
No.
Sam Ersson deserved to win this game. And to have it end the way it did with, I don't know what the exact time was, but it was basically just like about a second left on the clock. It's a bummer for Ersson. I feel bad for him. The Flyers, though, they probably should have lost this game in regulation. And one thing that I will say was interesting in terms of talking to Tortorella after the game, I was expecting him to be spit and fire. Because you have the goal at the end of overtime, all the turnovers, all the mistakes. He was surprisingly subdued and not angry, and he basically said, "Look, I'm a realist. We have an undermanned roster. Right, we're in a tough spot with the trade. We're in a tough spot with guys hurt. We don't have all of our pieces. We traded away 2 offensively oriented guys. We're trying to scratch and claw for goals. I'm not going to be too hard on these guys for this one. They're trying. They're giving it their all. They just don't have the horses right now. And I thought that was interesting because Tortorella could have taken it a couple different routes, because there certainly were enough mistakes if he wanted to rip the guys. And instead he went the, pat them on the shoulder rather than scream their head off tactic. And that was interesting.
And listen, I was just saying this to Steve right before you came in. It's annoying because like goals make the game fun, creating offense is fun, but I can forgive this team for not being able to create any offense right now. They have like one guy, they have Travis Konechny, and that's it. That's like a consistent NHL offensive player between the injuries, the trades, guys not here yet, everything we know about. But when I see this team turning pucks over at their own blue line, giving up end-to-end rushes where 5 guys get burnt like toast, all of the times that Utah, we're not talking about the Colorado Avalanche, who they played well defensively against a couple of days ago. We're talking about Utah. Good, fun, young team, but not very good. How do you square that? What the hell happened defensively tonight? Is that just more of, we're missing guys, not everyone knows the system, not everyone's on the same page, or an off night? What is going on with this team defensively?
I'm sure that's part of it. I'm sure that the fact that obviously they've got 3 forwards in the lineup who are basically minor leaguers in Richard Abols, who again I thought had a strong game, but he's still not an established NHL player, and then Jacob Gaucher, Emil Andre's up. So they got a lot of guys coming in who aren't necessarily in rhythm with the rest of the team. I'm sure that's part of it. That said, there are guys that shouldn't be making the mistakes that they're making, that are making mistakes. The one that jumps out at me, and I go back to that 2-0 at the end of the first period, like Cam York gets turnstiled, and I don't know what he was thinking. Like, I'm pretty sure it's Michkov who messes up to leave the other guy open, because Sanheim steps up on a 4, which I believe he's able to do in their system, in their neutral zone forecheck. Michkov doesn't pick up the weak side guy, so I think that's on him. He's a rookie. I'm going to expect that he's going to make some defensive mistakes here and there. Cam York isn't a rookie anymore. He should not be getting burnt the way he did on that play. And I don't want to be singling out Cam York. There were a lot of guys who made big mistakes. Travis Konechny gets burned on the overtime goal. So does Sanheim to a degree. Like, these are guys that you're hoping are going to step up and maybe not carry the load offensively. Obviously, you would like it if Konechny, ripped off a hat trick, given the fact that they don't really have a lot of other guys who are in position to do that, have the ability to do that. But I'm just hoping that those guys aren't making obvious mistakes. And I think a lot of those guys are. Now, maybe part of it, and this is very possible, is them trying to do a little bit too much. Maybe they're trying to put it on their back and they're making uncharacteristic mistakes because they know they have to do it all, given the situation. That's certainly possible. However, you still can't be making as many mistakes as they're making. And both Abols and Sanheim said unprompted. Well, Abols unprompted. Sanheim responded after I asked him the question based on what Abols said. They both mentioned turnovers, that the turnovers have been the big problem. That's why they don't have the puck enough. That's why they're playing defense so much. And it was the same problem in the final 12 minutes of Sunday's game, this 12 minutes of the second period against the Avalanche. They just started turning the puck over like crazy. And that just was the case tonight, pretty much from the second period on through the end of the game. And look, if they're going to pull out of this, and maybe they can't, at least until they get their new guys, and my expectation is they will be there by Thursday, but I guess we'll see. Maybe they can't pull out of it. But if they're going to pull themselves out of this and start playing better, it's going to be because they are doing a much better job of taking care of the puck, because right now they're not doing a good job of that at all.
No, definitely not. And it's cool to hear Abols at least like take some responsibility in like a veteran way for a guy who, really isn't a vet on this team. But, if there's one cool story from a Flyers perspective, besides Ersson just having a great night, it's Abols at 29 years old, getting that first career goal. How did the guys feel for Abols like in this situation?
Well, this wasn't a game where we were getting to talk to a lot of people. Obviously, they're bummed they lose with a second left in overtime, and it's a lost period. Abols was excited, to be sure, even though it comes in a loss. I'm sure they were happy. They were all just happy they scored a friggin' goal. There was that, too. But for Abols to get it, it was interesting. This morning, Torts actually said that when they were doing their tape study, that he pointed out a play from Abols against Colorado as how they have to score goals. So it's kind of funny that Abols then is the one who does break the 3-game goalless drought after getting highlighted by the coach in a video session that morning about how they need to score goals given their limitations at the moment. So I'm happy for him. And I thought he had a really good game. I really do. I thought he was strong all around. I thought he was hard on pucks. Towards note at the foot speed issue, not just with him, but with that whole line. And that's fair. But, compare him to Gaucher, who I don't think looks like he's ready. Abols looks at the very least like he's NHL caliber. And he's impressed me. I'm not going to lie.
Outside of Sam Ersson tonight, there was one other Flyer I was really impressed by. And, congratulations to Rodrigo. If they had won, we'd probably be doing half the show about him because that's cool. But the guy who created the screen for the goal, Charlie, Nic Delsuairas, returns to the lineup. I think they said he missed 39 straight games. He was a scratch. He gets hurt in practice. He's finally back off IR. He gets out there, helps create that first goal by getting to the net. Gets in a fight. I thought he had a great game. But one thing I just really noticed that I think encapsulates why everyone loves Delsuairas, other than listen, man, he's the one who puts his brain on the line for us. Everyone loves that guy. He hasn't played in 39 games. He doesn't know Rodrigo Abols from me or you. He probably knows you better. He immediately, first thing, grabs that puck, takes it right over to the bench for Abols' first goal. And you saw what happened in Vancouver this week. Somebody scored their first goal and that team's just so lost. They're like, yeah, we didn't even realize. You see what happened in Buffalo. No one's sticking up for each other. I wish they had won just so we could talk and give Delsuairas his flowers a little bit, because this was a great game for a role player. No?
Yeah. And I know, the old school people love the fight, and it was a scrap. I mean, that was a battle, and Delsuairas, in my mind, certainly got the win. You took a look at O'Brien's face, and he got beat up pretty good in that fight. He landed his punches on Delsuairas as well, but I think Delsuairas definitely gets the decision on that one. But the screen to set up the first goal, and Abols pointed that out as well, again, unprompted after the game, that Delsuairas' screen makes the goal possible. That's the kind of play where, he can drop the gloves. He's a heavyweight. Everybody knows he's a tough guy. But he's got to be able to provide something else other than just getting in fights. And that was a great play by him. Great, smart play. Parks himself in front of the net. He's obviously a big guy. He's got size. He just goes out there and does good work on that play to break the goalless drought. Look, Nic Delsuairas is a very popular player in that room for multiple reasons. Number one, he's the enforcer. Number two, he's just a genuinely nice guy and everybody likes him. So everyone, I'm sure, was very happy for him that he got back in the lineup. He kind of got screwed over a bit on Sunday too, because he's healthy. He was healthy. He could have played in that game. Instead, they go 11-7 because of the roster gymnastics. He was still technically on IR. So I'm sure that didn't make him feel great that, we're going 11-7. He's probably raising his hand hey, I'm healthy. I can play, guys. You can pull me off IR whenever you want to. I'm good. But he got in this game, and not only does he do the thing that, he's getting paid to do, he gets in the fight to try to spark energy. And honestly, given the fact that the rest of the season might not go great for the Flyers, fans need something to be entertained by. So maybe he can provide that. But not only does he do that, he makes a good play on the first goal. Overall, real happy for Nic Delsuairas having the game he did.
When we bringing the bullies back, guys? Come on.
I just got a couple for you here, Charlie, before we get to stars. First, how was the first trip to Salt Lake City? This is the first time Flyers have been there. First year Utah is there out of Arizona. Anything interesting at the arena, around town? Just how is it? First time in a new city that you're going to visit every year.
Yeah, well, I've never been to Salt Lake until these last couple of days. The mountains around the city are really cool. There's this big hill in one direction, then there's snow-covered mountains in the other direction. Not to say that, I've obviously been to Denver, I've been to Vancouver. There are mountains around, but they're not as close as they are in Salt Lake City. It pretty much just encapsulates the entire city. Pretty neat. As for the arena, the atmosphere is good. The way the press box is, it's not even really a press box. We're basically right behind the 100 level, essentially. Sight lines aren't great, but however, it's cool to be around the crowd. I like that, and the atmosphere was good. Fans were really into it. Lots of chants, fun environment. That said, they need an arena that's built for hockey, because there are so many sight lines in this arena where you can't see the entire ice surface. It's like the Barclays Center. It really is very similar. So they really need a hockey specific arena, or they need to make adjustments to this one to make it so it's capable of harnessing every single seat to its proper potential. But it seems like the people are behind their team, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounded loud on TV.
JJ mentioned on the broadcast, like, when the puck goes in the right side near corner, we can't see it. Like, if I look at my monitor, sure, but we'll basically be telling you what happens as they come out of that corner.
Yeah.
Do you care to weigh in on the team name at all? Because I've decided they should just be Utah, no team name. Do you have an opinion?
The Fighting Utes.
I think that is very dumb. I'm not gonna lie, Bill.
All right, Charlie. It is now time. It is now time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. Lead it off with star number 3.
Star number 3, I'll go with Mikhail Sergachev. Gets a goal, 2 assists, 3 points. Really showcases speed on a couple occasions in this game. He's a really good player. Obviously, they got him from Tampa, but he was flying. He was very noticeable throughout the game. Thought about giving it to Rodrigo Abols because he does get his first goal. Thought he was impressive, but in the end, we're talking about a guy who, and I'm looking at it right now, got 8 minutes and 30 seconds of ice time. I can't give him 3rd star over Sergachev, who was consistently impactful for over 20 minutes in this game, 25, 53. It's Sergachev. He had a great game. He's a big reason why Utah won.
All right. Who is star number 2?
Star number 2, I'm going to go with Sam Ersson. Would have been the easy star number 1 if the Flyers won.
Yeah.
They don't win. He gets 2nd star. He was incredible in this game. I think it's wild to think where this team would be over this last stretch had the goalies been playing as poorly as they were playing 2 months ago. They lose both this game and Colorado. Ersson played well in both those games. He did. And both those games could have been, 5-goal losses, and instead they're tight games because Ersson's playing very well. Funny, of course, that he's playing well now. The rest of the team is playing pretty poorly, but hey, that's Flyers hockey for you. But Ersson was great. So many big saves. Even though he gets the loss, obviously, I think he jacks up his save percentage, and well-deserved. Great game by Sam Ersson. Borderline 1st star, but easy choice for 2nd star.
No, whenever you see on Hockey Reference how they list point share, and it's the estimate number of points a player provided to their team in the standings, Sam Ersson earned 1 whole point tonight in my mind. There's a reason the Flyers got a point. It's that guy and nobody else. All right. Finally, star number 1.
Yeah, star number 1 is Dylan Guenther.
Yeah.
He's a really good player. I remember last year, Craig Morgan, who unfortunately doesn't cover full-time, at least, this team anymore because it's no longer the Arizona Coyotes. He talked up Dylan Guenther a ton about how this guy is legit. And I started paying more attention to him because of Craig, and he's right. This kid can play. This kid can shoot. He's just coming back from injury, and he has this kind of game. He's legit. I don't know if he's a superstar, but he's at the very least looking to me like a lowercase s star. Heck of a player, heck of a game. I mean, you can't have much more of a dramatic goal than the one he pulled off. So easy 1st star.
No, I'm gonna let you go, Charlie. But I just wanted to. I mentioned the sad cruelty of how well basically Ersson is playing now, and back when the Flyers skaters were playing well, it was well, no one can stop anything.
Yeah.
It is cruel that Arizona loses its team. I mean, for a number of reasons. But now you look at this young core and go, oh my God, they were so close to being relevant. But
yeah,
that's what happens when you have a bad owner. All right, that is Charlie O'Connor coming to us live from Salt Lake City. He'll be back with us for Thursday's pre and post game. And then we actually have a studio show that you're going to be around for, Charlie. So that's going to be fun on Friday. It'll be remote, but yeah. All right, that's it. That's Charlie O'Connor coming to us live on the Bet365 Flyers post-game show. And while we're wrapping this up, I got to tell you about one of my favorite sponsors, our friends at Shady Rays. It might be cold outside, but it's always sunny in Philadelphia, and you got to protect your eyes from that sunlight, man. It's bad for you, and it's hard to drive this time of year. You have that low sun in the afternoon. You're coming home from work. You can't see a damn thing. Our friends at Shady Rays are helping you Get in the right frame of mind with their premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their sunglasses have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. I say I wear them when I drive every day. One of the great things I love about them, you know, you look at your nav screen or something where you're wearing typical polarized sunglasses and they mess with your eyes. It looks like you're looking at a 3D movie or something. That's not what it looks like through Shady Rays. I don't know what it is, but their polarized glasses don't mess with my eyes when I check out the nav screen or anything on the little display in my car. That's one of the many reasons I love them. I think you'll love them too. And right now, for PHLY viewers and listeners, you can go to shadyrays.com and save 35% off polarized sunglasses with code PHLY. Over 300,000 people have rated Shady Rays 5 stars. You can be one of the next. So use code PHLY today at shadyrays.com. While we're here, got to talk to you about Ace Hardware Home Services, because if you have a leaky pipe or air conditioning issues or a faucet that you've been meaning to get around to for months and now it's like, I don't even know what to do, you got to head over to Ace Hardware Home Services, because they're around the block with everything you need to fix your next project, including the person to do the fixing, because they're not just the helpful hardware folks. They're also now the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started today. All right, I do want to talk a little bit. Listen, this was a bad game for the team. They are shorthanded. They have a bunch of call-ups playing. I don't want to like sit here and be like, oh, these are a bunch of good things that happened tonight. That's typically not what we do. I'm just kind of out of ways to blast this team because they're just kind of done. Like, it just feels as if this thing is teetering. But I will say, like, I'm not discouraged by the effort, and I haven't been. And I do think that speaks to the culture they've built a little bit, Steve. And I just mentioned this to Charlie, but I wanted to get your take on this with the Nic Delsuairas thing I mentioned. The obviously helping set up the goal was great. Love a good fight. Him and Liam O'Brien put on a nice little show. But I think the thing that mattered most to me out of everything Delsuairas did tonight was grab that puck immediately. No questions asked. He was down on the ice, stealing it like Chris Pronger in the final.
I threw it in the trash.
Except in front of everybody. No one can say, oh, I don't know who has it. He was right there. And I know that's like a little dumb thing that doesn't matter, but yes, it does. I look at what's going on in Vancouver and how that team listen, maybe they're not the best team. Maybe they don't have all the best depth, but they have a lot of really good players. They just had to get rid of one because for whatever reason, like they just don't have a culture. Things started to go wrong and suddenly everyone wants to kill each other. Maybe JT Miller is just a dick. Maybe Elias Pettersson is just soft. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of both, but this is something that adults have to be able to figure out, and they just couldn't because there's nothing there apparently. And Linus Karlsson the other day, that's who it is. Linus Karlsson scores his first career goal for Vancouver. Nobody goes and grabs the puck. Then the official grabs it and is like following Vancouver up the ice, and no one even turns around. He eventually just gives it to the scorekeeper, and the scorekeeper like eventually hands it to like say, hey, someone needs to take this because it's like something we do now, your first career goal. And I'm thinking about what happened in Buffalo the other day when Tage Thompson gets rocked and there's no response. And then so tonight someone had to fight Matthew Olivier right off the opening faceoff just to prove that, we're not going to let that happen again. Like, yeah, get beaten up by one of the best fighters in the league to prove, I don't know, something that a completely different team, a completely different guy in a completely different game, whatever. Like, the fact that those things don't happen here, and there's every reason for this thing to go off the rails, especially now. Like, they traded two popular guys. They haven't been able to get a save all year. Now they're getting saves and can't buy a goal. The two guys they traded for ain't here yet. Owen Tippett's hurt. Rasmus Ristolainen's hurt. You have all these call-ups, all these things that I know, like, oh, those are excuses. But those things in the past have driven Flyers seasons into the ground, and better teams than the Flyers fall apart when this many things go wrong. They're not. They're sucking right now because they're just not that good. But I've seen teams quit. We've seen it up close 10 times in the last 12 years, Steve.
Oh, we sure have, pal.
We saw a team quit in the second round of the playoffs in 2011. Like, it just happened. They went, yeah, I'm good.
They blew up the entire team based on that, too.
Yes.
Like, that was a team that, like, you think about it, how many guys from that team went on to win the cup like the next year, like with LA? At least two of those guys. Like
the goalie won it last year, and they're still
right,
winning cup, that group that we got rid of.
It's insane. It's insane to think about. But like,
that's
that's
not happening here. And I do think that is ultimately having good players and winning is what matters most.
Yeah,
but we're building something towards that.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the culture stuff matters to a degree, especially like it's unbelievable what happened in Vancouver. That team took the Oilers to 7 games, right? Like that team almost played in the Western Conference Final. There's a chance that team plays in the Stanley Cup Final last year because that was a damn good hockey team. So to be blowing them up like that, have a guy who scored 100+ points last year, just like, well, I can't play with this other all-star center.
Yeah.
It's insane to me to think about. And if I was a Flyers fan and this happened here, number one, like the media would have a field day with that. Like it'd be ridiculous. Like we would never stop talking about it. Thankfully, it didn't happen here yet at this point. And like that was just ridiculous. I hated to see that, to be honest with you, just because like you don't like to see good teams kind of get broken up like that. I mean, I don't care too much. It's Vancouver, but like, it's just ridiculous. Like these grown men making millions of dollars a year can't figure out how to play together. And that culture stuff does matter. I do like seeing the thing from Delorier. It reminded me a little bit of, a team that's in a championship in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Eagles. You might've heard they're going to the Super Bowl or something like that.
I've heard.
You've heard once or twice, but they had their third string quarterback, Tanner McKee, threw his first touchdown this year, and AJ Brown caught it, but he didn't realize that it was his first one. So he gave the ball away by accident. But once AJ Brown figured that out, he felt horrible. He went and tracked down the fan, gave him a signed jersey and some other stuff. He took care of it because like they have a culture there where they're taking care of each other and they care about that kind of stuff. And they're a bunch of winners. They're going to the championship. So building that stuff is important. Building that culture is important. And the Flyers have done a good job with that. Like Travis Konechny, Scott Lawton, these are guys who pick up for each other. We saw Sean Couturier picking up for Michkov in the preseason. And Delorier is one of those guys who like, he's done what you ask of him. Like Delorier hasn't played for the same amount of time it took for Nathan McKinnon to get another power play goal. And
I think they said like 39 games.
39 games. It's been so long. And you kind of knew when you looked at their injury report, like, is he really on the IR or is this just like them playing roster gymnastics because they have to carry 3 goalies? So for him to sit for that long, not complain once, I've never heard a complaint from him. Nobody's heard a complaint from him. And to come in there and just, do his thing tonight, like he didn't miss a beat. Like it's a good thing to see. And again, clearly the locker room appreciates him. I'll pay a guy like that a little bit of money. Again, I never like the term on that contract, but like the money's not a big deal. And for him to help gel that locker room is an important thing.
Absolutely. And again, this doesn't absolve what we saw tonight. The team can't score, and that's one thing. They don't have very many guys who can score, and like the ones who can are cold or hurt.
Dude, they're a mess. They cannot get to this break soon enough.
They played terrible defense tonight. They gave up way too many shots, way too many dumb opportunities, just kind of everyone watching, way too much puck watching, way too much standing still. But the team stinks. I don't know what else to say.
They're not a good team right now.
There are good things to take out of this season, even when we can all objectively go, like, things ain't going well.
Things ain't going well. And we got a lot of season left, unfortunately. And I'm very intrigued to see what happens when these new guys get here. I don't really know much about them. I know Kuzmenko is like this roller coaster of emotions with, his numbers. You don't know what he's going to give you. And I really, really don't know much about, I don't really know much about these guys. So I'm curious if they provide a spark. I'm curious if they are going to, I don't know, change the dynamics in some way. The other thing is, like, these guys also took a gut punch by losing the two guys they lost on the roster recently. Like, Morgan Frost is one thing. I know Frost seemed to be well liked in that locker room, and he got a lot of minutes on the team. But Farabee has been here a long time. Farabee was really well liked. He helped a lot of the young guys really acclimate into the league, letting him stay at his house and everything. Like, Farabee was like a big gel guy for this group, and he actually scored for Calgary tonight. So to lose Farabee was tough for these guys. I think losing both those guys, I think Michkov talked about it, a couple of the other guys. So, like, that's a big hit in the locker room. That's a big hit to the team chemistry.
Yeah, Farabee had his first goal for the Flames taken away on a review tonight, and then he came back a little later, and I think he got a deflection goal for his. So now both Frost and Farabee have scored goals for their team, played 3 games. Flyers waiting for Kuzmenko and Peltier to join the team. And listen, it's a complicated situation. I don't really understand it. But you know who does? Charlie, because he's very smart. It's that Ivy League education. And if you want to read his latest article on the Flyers' two newest editions and what's going on, why they're not here yet, you can do it at allphly.com. And now is the time. If you are not yet a diehard, you can sign up right now because our big game sale is here. $36 for the annual subscription gets you all the diehard benefits, all of our premium content from our all-star cast of writers, access to the Discord, discount on merch and events. So many benefits to being a PHLY diehard. Go to allphly.com right now to sign up and check out Charlie's article because he'll help explain what's going on here. But Steve, you're talking about Kuzmenko, don't really know what he can add. He can't possibly hurt the power play. And I'm hoping that he and Michkov, I don't know if you can play them together 5-on-5 just because one, Tortorella might commit a murder. And it might be of his own brain. Like he might give himself an aneurysm watching those two play.
Like, but the torch warning, the torch sassometer is going to be going off the chart. If, like, it's going to break. If
maybe
those two
you
play
can get
together.
those two together on the power play and create a little bit of chemistry, just something to move forward with. I don't think Kuzmenko's. I mean, he's almost 29, I think.
Yeah, he's like Rodrigo Abols.
Yeah, it's not like he's staying. Today or tomorrow, like, might be his birthday. He might have turned the age before he got here. But regardless, our friend Alex Appleyard, one of our contributors at All PHLY, he put this out on Twitter about Michkov on the power play earlier today. He says, Michkov got most of his KHL power play points off the right-hand boards. 5 of his 6 power play goals this year from the right, other walking off the right. He has been neutered recently with move to playing mostly on the left-hand boards. No power play goals in last 10 games, 2 power play points in last 24 games. Absolutely ridiculous, really. And Steve, this is something we were talking about in pregame. It's something I don't know if we can talk about enough, but it's also one of those things, like, I don't know, we all kind of just accept it, but this power play, especially right now, given the guys they're missing, they didn't get the return from the trade yet. Tippett hurt, everything. We know. But it can't just possibly never score, and that's what it is. It never scores.
We're never going to score.
It's a joke, this power play, and, like, I don't even know what I want to ask you other than, like, what the hell is this?
I don't know what it is. And, like, I watched them operate.
Strategy?
And I'm like, what power play would think to operate like they are when they're just operating along the boards? No inside action. They're not even looking to pass the puck inside. They're just looking for a weird shot through traffic without generating the traffic themselves. It doesn't make sense, and I don't understand how it keeps going like this. Like, I feel like I'm going insane watching this power play. I would love to see Kuzmenko on there. By the way, we got to get Kuzmenko and the Cuz together so it can be Kuz and the Cuz. But it's right there. Come on. But
stuff.
I don't know what the hell to expect from this guy. By the way, his birthday is 2/4/96. So yesterday. Well, technically just yesterday. So his birthday just hit. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. So today was the day he turned 29. Yeah. Before.
Yeah. So he's 29. Happy birthday to the once and maybe probably former Flyer at some point, because this is the last year of his contract, right?
Everyone is a former Flyer, whether they like it or not.
Whether they like it or not, everybody. But yeah, dude, it's so bad. It makes me so sad to see it this poor. And the thing is, again, like they have talented players. This is a coaching thing, as far as I'm concerned, and the coaching has not made adjustments. Like we saw Michkov carry it at the beginning of the year. They've clamped down on Michkov. They know that he is creative with the puck. And if they just swarm to him and they concentrate on him, the other guys aren't going to do anything. And again, Michkov slowed down. We're not under any illusions about that. He's slowed down. He's a 20-year-old playing his first full NHL season. It's rough. He's going to be awesome next year. Don't worry about it. But like, this is where the coaches have to work better. The system is atrocious. It doesn't make sense. The scheme is awful. It is unwatchable.
It's just ugly, man. Like little things. They got away with being a stationary power play for the most part in the Giroux years because you had cross ice options with Giroux and Voracek. You always had at least something up top, at least during the years the power play was especially good.
Braden Shen had a great one-timer over there. Like we underestimated him, but he got some stuff done on that power play.
Whether it was Timonen or Streit or Ghost up top, you had that option. And when the bumper was Hartnell or Shen or even Couturier, it worked. And for the most part, you had the best net front presence in the league for a few years there in Wayne Simmons. Like, so you could get away with the station because Claude Giroux could orchestrate the thing so well and use everyone's talents. You don't have that level of talent here. There needs to be some coaching. There needs to be some movement. You just can't have Matvei Michkov left-handed on the left boards going, all right, get open. Like, that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. And even if Claude Giroux walked through that door tomorrow, he's not going to fix it. You know, I'd love to see him back, but like he ain't going to fix it because it's a broken system. It's a system that needs to be reworked in some way. And if they run back the same crew of assistants next year, I love Bradshaw, but Rocky Tom, if Rocky's back next year, and I'm expecting him back, to be honest, that's disappointing, man. Because like Rocky does not seem to have a good scheme for this, and I don't know why Tortsy's not blowing this up and trying to do everything he can. Because if there's one thing that pisses fans off, it's a bad power play. You should not be worse at scoring when you have more men on the ice. It's insane to think about.
They have more guys.
They have more guys.
Like, you should never lose a face-off. You should never be outnumbered. Like, you have more guys.
It's basic math.
Get to the net. Like, and create some havoc. You know what happens? You move guys around. There's a little miscommunication, and suddenly somebody's wide open because you have more guys. All right, we're going to get to Super Chats in a second. I do want to mention one thing because in the interest of fairness, there was a number of things about tonight's game that pissed me off. But in the 3-on-3, in the overtime, Steve, Michkov has the puck on the left-hand side of the net on offense, and he goes for the side angle shot. Now, on one hand, this team can't score to save its life, so do whatever the hell you can. Also, in 3-on-3, when it's all about possession, maybe don't do that. Don't take such a low percentage thing. Yeah. I don't know. Did you notice that at all?
I noticed that. I agree with you. Like, don't take such a low percentage. Buddy. But that's again where the coaches have to come in and say, hey, you didn't do this right here. This is what you should do next time. And hopefully it's a learning experience for him. Yeah. But I like a lot of what this coaching staff has done for this team. Like, they've done a lot of great things. I'm a little concerned by a couple things right now, specifically offensive drawbacks, if you will. Like, the offense feels like it's taken a lot of steps back, especially in recent weeks. And again, part of that's personnel shifting, but like, I don't know. I think the coaching's got to step it up here.
For me, at this point, I am just hoping Tortorella and staff drill into this team a baseline of the right way to play. Not that you have to play that way all the time, but that in the third period of a playoff game, this is the way you're going to need to grind out a win. Have that baseline, have that knowledge, and then the next coach opens things up. and you can be that team with the ability to also play quote unquote playoff style hockey. Like that is the hope. Like the Florida Panthers. That's what you want to be.
Well, what a world that would be.
They were that high flying team. Suddenly they were like, we got to be a little tougher. And they did it backwards. But like having the ability to do both is why they won back-to-back Eastern Conference championships and ultimately they're the reigning Cup champs. All right, Steve, a few minutes left here. Time to hit those super chats. All right, we have a first one here from Aviator. Says, since being traded, Drew has outscored Coots 202 points to 62 points. At what point do we admit that the Flyers chose the wrong player to keep? At this rate, what happens if Coots doesn't ever catch G? Who cares?
He's not catching G.
Like, I mean, they didn't choose one over the other. Claude Giroux's contract was expiring, and he's 30. Like you're a bad team. You they got a first round pick and Owen Tippett for him. Like, should they have traded both? Maybe. That's feasible. I could buy that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're talking a strict cap,
what Giroux would just be putting up a few extra points for a losing team. Like he's about to take Ottawa to the playoffs. I don't see the point of keeping Claude Giroux.
Right. I mean, it's one of those things that like you look at, it's like, well, if they made a cap decision to go with one over the other, and you could look at it that way, but like it felt like the franchise in general kind of needed to move on. Yeah, because like I think it was better for both parties ultimately, because like we kind of needed to move on culture wise from Claude Giroux. We love Claude Giroux. We all adore Claude Giroux, one of the great Flyers, but like it just felt like that era kind of needed to end, and the Flyers really needed to go back to basics and rebuild some stuff, which, you know, mixed results so far, but we've got Michkov and Tippett, so that's certainly a step in the right direction.
And in terms of Sean Couturier's contract, it's a waiting game until the buyout numbers, like you can stomach it.
It just sucks. It sucks to see. We didn't think that Coots would maybe his injuries would be that severe and it would hit like this. And it's the situation is what it is at this point. It sucks though. We hate to see it.
I've run it on, I can't remember if it's Puckpedia or Cap Wages, but I've run the buyout calculator because of all the bonuses that have already been paid, like the way the contract is structured. Buying them out this summer, I don't even know if you save $500,000 and then like you double the length of the deal, you know? Like
we're waiting a couple years on that sucker.
They have to wait a few years, even if he comes around like and is decent. You still have to do it because he's making so freaking much money.
Right. Right now, for the next like 2 years,
it's at least 2 years.
Perfectly fine with him being an overpaid third line center. It's not great, but like it's whatever. They just cleared a bunch of cap space with the Farabee Frost deals and everything. So, and the cap's going up, so they're going to have room to work. They're going to have room to do this big game hunting that Danny Bray was talking about. But yeah, in retrospect, of course, like if you made a decision just between Claude Giroux or Sean Couturier, you choose Claude Giroux. But there's a lot of factors that go into it beyond just a one or the other choice.
That the original terms of the Couturier contract will simply not reach an expiry date. They will be a buyout, a salary retention trade, whatever it is. He ain't going to finish out that actual deal, you know? But thank you, Aviator. I don't know if we've ever had a super chat from you before, so appreciate you joining us.
Especially at this late hour here.
Yeah, awesome. And we appreciate all of those of you who are watching us on TV. Make sure you check out allphly.com for the rest of the show. As we wrap up our super chats here, we have one from our pal Socrates Johnson. The same refs are the officials for the Super Bowl.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah. Listen, officiating is bad, like in sports in general. I have a very simple theory about officials. They're too old. You have the greatest athletes in the world, and like you can't see as well when you cross like 40, 50. Your knees don't work as well when you cross like 40, 50. How are they supposed to officiate these games, especially now? Like sports were never meant to be viewed in HD. Now we have 4K, 3D, like your virtual reality that's putting you in the game. You actually get to be Connor McDavid. Like
they got that camera that makes it look like they're all Madden players.
everything in sports was an area play because you couldn't see it. And then suddenly the quality of everything was like, officiating's terrible. And I don't think it seems to be getting worse and worse as the quality of pictures keeps getting better and better. I don't think officiating's just bad. That said, it would be silly to look at the Chiefs and not think there's something weird. Yeah.
Yeah, come on. We all know.
A little something. I am not a blame the refs guy. Whenever we do this stuff, I'm like, I think refs are just bad. I don't think they're cheating. I don't think they're favoring anyone. I'm not a blame the refs guy. I think the Eagles are going to win, quite honestly. But
here we go.
Yeah, there's something weird. Yeah. All right, let's hit this next one here. This game was like watching my 9-year-old play NHL 25 with the penalties turned off for his team. It was what it was. It's Socrates, and I appreciate it.
Hey, Socrates, even if they call those penalties,
the
Flyers ain't doing nothing on that power
play. It was better for the Flyers to be on the penalty, and their penalty kill hasn't been what it was last year, this year, but I liked what I saw for the most part out of the PK tonight. They did a good job, and obviously when Sam Ersson plays like this, you have a much better chance. They need to get back to being a little more aggressive. Maybe now that they can trust the goalie, they can be a little more aggressive like they were last season, perhaps. But that's just the way she goes right now.
I'm hoping
what are they going to score on the power play? What?
I'm hoping getting some actual NHL players back in there can really help there, and guys you can trust to play the more than 10 minutes a night. Because TK played another 23 minutes tonight, and you've had a pet theory that TK hasn't been right for a couple weeks now. So and he's not going to get any help with this tournament coming up, but hopefully he's not playing 23 minutes a night in it.
And I realize, your fourth line tonight is a returning Nic Delsuairas who hasn't played in months. O'Shea in his second game. Abols in his 11th game or so, 7th game, whatever it is.
5:59, 6:29, and 8:30, respectively.
But I just honestly can't fully wrap my head around the idea of, Emil Andre, 12:48. Meanwhile, Travis Sanheim, 27 minutes. What's the point? You're not making the playoffs. Just play him and see what happens.
Just play him.
Abols scored your goal tonight. He ended the shutout streak. I don't know. Get him out there a couple more times.
I wouldn't even mind seeing Abols, a few more games because, you know what? He can play center.
I assume it'll be, just looking at this, I assume it'll be Gaucher and Richard that gets sent down. And it's Abols that stays when Kuzma
at least until Paling comes. And Paling shouldn't come back until after the break at this point.
No, I can't imagine.
Get him 100% right. Keep all these. Keep Risto out until the break. Let Risto just take it easy so he can get to that break and he can make it to that tournament nice and healthy. Yeah. And then come back and get traded for a first-round pick.
But that's it, Steve. 2 games left. They're coming home. February 6th and February 8th, we have the Caps, and that'll be fun because Ovechkin scored again tonight. It was another empty netter, which tickles me.
Yeah. Breaking Gretzky's record, one empty netter. Hey, listen, he's not missing any of the shots he didn't take because he's taking all the shots. So 100% of those shots he's taken. They
go into the break with the Pittsburgh Penguins on the 8th, and then 2 weeks off from games. I bet you we'll be missing them by the time the 2 weeks is up. I bet you we're missing this ridiculous freaking team.
I just love hockey. Love hockey.
Is all the time we have for you on this edition of PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you to all of our new followers here on YouTube, of the podcast, on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Very much appreciate all the new eyes that we've had added over the last few days because the NHL and the Flyers have been doing stuff. And when things happen, people get interested. And we appreciate it. Hope you like what you're seeing. If you do, make sure you're following us right here on the old YouTube page. Follow us on Twitter as well at PHLY_Flyers. And give Flyperbole a follow. Check out their podcast. Check out their Twitter. It's good stuff. All right. I'm Bill Matz. That's Steve Jaco. Until next time, go Birds.